everyone was gay. Hello, hi, my name is Mo, and I thought today I'd talk about how I knew I was non-binary so that hopefully it might help somebody out there who's also questioning their gender, because I know that can be such a confusing and isolating experience because you feel like no one else is going through the same thing. You know, cis people just sort of pop out the womb, they're just born and they're like, yo, I'm a dude. So I just thought I'd put out a little disclaimer. Of course, this is just my personal experience. There is no one way to be non-binary. You could go to another non-binary person, ask them how they knew they were non-binary, and they could give you a completely different story to what I'm gonna give you. And that's completely fine, you know? Human experience is so complicated, varied, different for different people. With something as complicated as human experience, you're never going to be able to put it into a box. My experience sort of is quite heavily focused on dysphoria, unfortunately. But you know, it'll be different for everyone. So with that disclaimer out the way, I'll just get onto it, I guess. So to start the story off, I think I'll take you back in time. I don't know, about 14 years. Rewind about 14 years. I'm 18 now, so I would have been about 4. As a kid, my family didn't really care about gender roles that much. I could kind of do whatever I wanted. I just sort of existed. You know, I was a kid, I did my thing. I didn't really think about gender at all. I have a brother. We used to sort of share clothes a little bit, so he'd wear some of my old pyjamas, and it was just a carefree environment, I guess, in terms of gender, you know? I'm really ADHD, so as a kid I was really hyper all over the place, always going outside, having adventures, all that kind of stuff. And this all continued up until I was about 11, and then I hit puberty, as you do, and that wasn't very fun. That was when I sort of started to realise something is really not right here. Like, as soon as puberty hit, I was just so confused. I hated all the changes that were happening to my body. I hated them. I was just like, this is completely wrong. All the girls in my class would be like, oh, hell yeah, dude, I can wear a bra now. And I'd be like, fuck. No thank you, not for me. How do I opt out of this one? And obviously you can't, because that's not how it works, unfortunately. But back then I didn't know what being trans was, because I was 11 and, you know, it's not really something you think about. I had no idea you could change your gender, and it was just sort of, it wasn't something that ever crossed my mind. I just sort of assumed everyone must feel the same way, even though they clearly didn't. I wasn't very bright back then, not that I am now, but I'm slightly less stupid, so that's nice. I was just so uncomfortable, and I thought maybe if I try and fit in a little bit more, I'll feel more comfortable, because look at everyone else. You know, all the girls, they've got long hair, they're doing woman stuff, whatever woman stuff is, you know. But I thought if I tried to be more like them, maybe I'd feel more comfortable, because they seemed comfortable, so why shouldn't I? So, you know, I grew my hair really, really long. Honestly, it was not me at all. I felt really uncomfortable, but I didn't know what it was. So after I left intermediate school, I would have been about 13, I went to high school, and for some reason, I thought, you know what would be a good idea? Let's go to a semi-private, all-girls Christian school. I feel like you just need to look at me to know that that was a terrible idea. Plus, I'm a massive atheist, so I don't know why I thought going to a religious school was a good idea, but you know, obviously, respect to anyone's religious views, you know? Freedom to believe whatever the fuck you want. And it was horrible, it was really awful. I did not fit in at all. I didn't really have any friends. Everyone thought I was fucking weird. I mean, kind of fair, but like, people were really mean to me. It was quite a sort of homophobic environment as well. Like, okay, this is sort of side tangent, but I had a group of girls come up to me, right? And they verbatim said to my face, yeah, sorry Mo, we just can't be friends with you because we think you're gay. I'm sorry, what? I was 13. I had not given my sexuality, like, a thought at that point in time. I genuinely hadn't thought about it at all. I'd never had a crush on anyone, I didn't really give a shit, and then these people were like, we've looked at you, and you look a bit gay, so, like, you must be gay. So I just sort of sat there and I was like, what? What? So it wasn't a very nice environment, and luckily I told my parents that I really didn't like the school, and they were quite supportive, and they helped me move schools. So I moved to a public co-ed school, and it was 10 times better. Like, when I say 10 times better, you have no idea. It was such a supportive environment. There wasn't this sort of stuck up atmosphere that comes from a private school because, you know, people have money. That does seem to be a funny little correlation with rich and arsehole. It's like, I don't know, if there was a trajectory, like the richer you get, sort of the arseholeness sort of increases as well. That's what I found anyway. But yeah, this new environment was so inclusive and accepting, and it sort of allowed me to explore myself a lot more. As soon as I got to that school, I chopped all my hair off. That beautiful long hair, fucking yeeted it. That's gone. I felt so much better. The instant I'd cut it, I was like, I am never going back. Oh, it was so brilliant. It just made me feel so much more comfortable, I guess. And then when I was 14, I sort of figured out that I was bisexual. There isn't really a very interesting story to this. Basically this, right? Got a crush on a girl in my class, went, I like women. And then I sort of was looking at the TV, and I was looking at the dude on the TV, and I went, damn, you're fine. And then I was like, yeah, I think I'm bisexual. And that's how I figured it out. At this time, I was still really confused with my gender. I was shaving my head, dyeing my hair, perming my hair at an alarming rate, just sort of trying to find something that would make me feel comfortable. And it was really fun to experiment with your hair, your appearance and stuff, but something still wasn't feeling right, and I didn't know what it was. And then, I think when I was about 16, I stumbled across a YouTube video of a trans dude just talking about how he was trans. And I was like, man, like some of these experiences are very, very similar to my own. So I sort of did a little bit of research, and I found out what being a trans guy was. But I don't really know that you could be non-binary. I thought you could only be a trans man or a trans woman. So I was really confused, and I started to question whether or not I might be a trans man. I'd watch the transition timelines, and there'd be some things that I was like, I want that. You know, I'd see pictures of top surgery and I'd be like, I want that. Like, I knew I wanted it. But then I'd look at other things like, I don't know, really deep voices and sort of, you know, all the body hair that comes along with testosterone, and I was like, I don't think I want that. At this point, I started dressing incredibly masculine. Everybody just thought I was a dude. I could not go into women's changing rooms at all. Like, once I went in there and somebody actually took me out and pointed me in the direction of the men's bathrooms, and I was like, this is fucking awkward. I also changed my name to Mo at this point as well. Mo is not my birth name, and when I was a kid, my brother couldn't pronounce my name, so he used to call me Momo because I think I had an Almo sticking plaster, and he was like, Almo, and then my mum was like, oh my god, he can say Almo, how about Momo? So it was sort of like Mo was close enough to my birth name that I could sort of pass it off as just a nickname, which was very nice because it meant I didn't have to sort of say to everyone, hi guys, I'm questioning my gender, I might be a transgender, I haven't figured it out yet, can you call me Mo? Like, I didn't have to say that, I just sort of said, I prefer Mo, like, I just think it suits me more, can you call me that? And everyone was like, yeah, sure. So I started going by Mo. When I went out, everyone thought I was a dude. For some time, I felt much more comfortable. And that really made me think that I might be trans, because I was like, man, I mean, people are seeing me as a dude, and I mean, it feels better than being seen as a woman. But after about 1 or 2 years of kind of being perceived as a dude by everyone who didn't already know me, it started to feel wrong again. And I started to realise that I wasn't comfortable being seen as a dude. The reason I had felt comfortable was just because I was happy that people weren't seeing me as a woman, right? Now at this time I'd discovered what non-binary was, I knew what it was, but not gonna lie, at this point in my life, I may have been a little bit true scummy. I know it's embarrassing, I know, I'm so sorry. I didn't really think that non-binary was legit. Like, I had a lot of internalized envy-phobia, or whatever you want to call it, and I didn't think it was a thing. And I felt like if I want to transition, you know, I want to go the full way. I don't want to be sort of seen as this other in society. So I was in denial big time. And then I sort of started to get a little bit older, you know, I hit 18, I'm 18 now, and sort of people stopped seeing me as a dude. And I grew my hair out. I grew it into a bob, and I tried so hard to be a girl. When I say so hard, I mean it lasted about 3 months. I hated it, I just couldn't. I used to like put my hair up into a beanie. Like, it was only about this long, but I had sort of a fringe, so I sort of just put it up into my head and I was like, yeah, no, I have short hair. And I just sort of realised, Mo, what are you doing? Like, this is so sad. So I chopped my hair off again, and I just sort of existed for a bit. I was like, fuck, this is too confusing for me. I'm gonna try and not think about it. I started researching into non-binary more because I was like, man, I really, you know, I think at this point I sort of knew I was non-binary. I just didn't want to admit it. So I started looking into it more. And gradually I became less ambiphobic, basically. Now I've been sort of using stuff to bind since I was about 13, you know, like, and it was just as I was putting on a binder, I just went, who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? I need top surgery. Like, I'm never gonna be happy with, like, that part of my body unless I get top surgery. You know, like, I just hate it. I hate it so much, and it makes me so uncomfortable. Sometimes people would, like, bump me in the chest and be like, oh, sorry, Mo, I just bumped your tit, and I'd be like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that would trigger the fuck out of me. I've always hated it. As a kid, I was like, I'm never gonna grow tits. I was so sure that I'd never grow tits. And then when I fucking did, it was like, it was the worst, you know? It was like my biology had failed me, you know? And then sort of from there, I realised, yeah, I'm trans, I'm non-binary, I wanna get top surgery, I wanna transition, I wanna just do that. That's what I want to do. So I kind of told my friends. They already kind of knew because I'd been talking to them about the fact that I was questioning for years, and also I fucking look like this, you know, it's a bit obvious. Whenever I went to a new place, people would ask me my pronouns or ask me whether I was a boy or a girl, depending on how progressive the space was. You know, sometimes people would be like, so, is it, like, boy or girl, like, And then they'd go and ask one of their friends, they'd be like, hey, is Mo like a boy or a girl? Because I really can't fucking tell. That was always great. I was just like, fuck, ask me. Don't ask someone else. Man, just ask me, okay? But yeah, I'd get people asking me all the time. I'd get people shout out on the street, actually. Since then, I've looked into my transition and where I want to go from now. And I can't see myself taking testosterone because testosterone is an incredibly powerful hormone. And I mean, if you see trans dudes that go on T, right, they just, boom, it's like man, right? Testosterone, just man. If I was to take it, I would just be seen as a man, and I'm non-binary, like that's not what I want to go for. But yeah, that's kind of my journey, I guess. I hope this helps someone out there. I know figuring out your gender can be such a difficult and scary thing. I think a really, really important thing is that you don't rush it. I was questioning for about 3 years, you know? And I think if I just rushed into it, I think I could have just sort of thought I was a trans man. And that's not what I am, you know? I think rushing into it can be dangerous if you're thinking about hormones or surgery, because those are pretty hard to reverse. Not impossible, but definitely quite difficult. What I'd suggest is just playing around with the way you present, trying to find out what feels most comfortable to you, because that will be the biggest thing. If you just exist as you, if you just present the way that you want to present, grow your hair out, shave your hair off, you know, put on makeup, don't wear makeup, just be you, just giving yourself time to be, basically, just giving yourself time to be. But yeah, I think that's all I really got to say. Again, I do hope this was helpful. Feel free to message me on Instagram or Twitter if you have any questions. I do have a Patreon page that I just set up, but if you become a $5 Patreon, I draw a picture of you. So yeah, if there's anything else that you want to see from me, just comment it in the comments, and I'll see if I can make a video on that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. Have a good day. Stay safe, and I'll see ya. Okay, boomer.